All right, guys. Tough win for the Utah Jazz, who need to be losing more games as the season comes to a close. They beat this Spurs team who's not super impressive. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, before we get started, make sure you go to Prize Picks. The link is in the description below. Use promo code HoopsNerd. They will match up to $100 when you sign up. And so that's free money on me. I would really appreciate it. Go do that. Also, if you're new here, like and subscribe to the channel. Why wouldn't you? It's fun, and I would appreciate it. All right, let's start. This show's not going well so far, but we're going to pick it up right now. All right. So the Utah Jazz did everything they could to lose this game. Can we figure this out and get the stats up? There we go. The Utah Jazz. Should we even do a show tonight? Should we even? I can't talk for whatever reason. Let's talk about the Spurs. This Spurs team has their eyes on the prize. They are not playing their best players, even their young players. That's one difference between what the Spurs are doing and what the Jazz are doing. Like, we didn't see Vassell play, and I don't know if Vassell's injured, but I mean, if he is, I think they'd keep Vassell out for a hangnail to make sure they keep their top spot. Although at this point in the season, the Spurs are pretty much, I mean, if you go to Tankathon and look, they are pretty much locked in to that number 3 spot. I mean, they could possibly pass up Houston, and maybe they're hoping to try and get there, but they are locked into that number 3 spot. They are, 5.5 games up on Charlotte with like 7 or 8 games left. So I guess they're trying to secure the number 3, but they are locked in. They are not playing, any of their best players. Vassell, who I would have liked to see, did not play. I don't know who Julian Champagne is. Champagne. He was not bubbling. He was not popping like a bottle of Champagne, because look at that. 1 for 6, 0 for 3. He helped. He was the tank commander tonight, and I have no idea who he is. And that was a good sign. That was a good pickup for the Spurs if you want the number 3 pick. Holy smokes. Mamukhelishvili, I have heard people pronounce his name correctly at times. I am not going to be one of those people. Devontae Graham is actually a pretty decent NBA player who can knock down shots. He's playing on the bench. They want him to play as little as possible because when he's in, he's scoring 17 points. Look at this. 3 guys scored 17. That was the number of the day for the Spurs, apparently. Keita Bates-Diop, I kind of liked him in the draft. He's been nothing but disappointing. And so the Spurs are happy to play him. Zach Collins has had a disappointing career, so he fits right in here with the Spurs as well. 5 assists, 8 rebounds. He's probably the best player for them, to be honest. He's actually shown some signs, and in the draft, I kind of liked him. He went way too high. He was one of those guys that's purely potential, and potential gets guys fired. And eventually in Portland, the GM did get fired. So congrats to Zach Collins for that. But anyways, 12 points for him, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He can actually spread the floor, and so there's some interesting things with him. And then Malachi Branham, some people like him. I don't know much. 21 points. I don't know. Good for him. The thing with the Spurs that's different with the Jazz is the Jazz are playing their young players. The Jazz are not playing scrubs like Julian Champagna. They're not playing guys like that. They are playing Walker Kessler. They are playing Ochai Agbaji, and they are playing THT, Talen Horton-Tucker, who has actually turned into quite the asset. Holy smokes. But before we talk about the Jazz, let's drop this. Let's talk about the Jazz now. This was a game they really wanted to lose. That's why they picked up Luka Samanich for a 10-day contract. They still played Chris Dunn, who's looking like an asset. They believe he's an asset because they gave him a contract. He's going to play on the Jazz next season. And you know who else is going to play on the Jazz next season? Walker Kessler, Ochai Agbaji, and Talen Horton-Tucker possibly. I actually don't know Talen Horton-Tucker's contract. Let's check it out, actually. Because who's even watching this tonight on a Jazz loss? This was a tankathon tonight. Absolutely crazy. 3-year, $30 million. So he's making $10 million a year. That's actually pretty interesting. Next year, he has a player option. He will likely pick that up. So Horton-Tucker got a nice contract from the Lakers. The Jazz are taking that on. $11 million, and you know what? It's a little bit of an overpay for Horton-Tucker, but you know, when you drop 41 points like he did tonight, he was the best player tonight. Easily the best player on the floor for the Utah Jazz. Goes 15 for 25 from the field, and this is a lot of driving the lane, but here's the thing that can get you excited. 6 for 11 from 3, and there have been times this season where it's looked like that three-point shot for him is coming along. And I know it's the Spurs, and they're playing Shagpagni, but he's knocking down shots when he should. So in a game like this, you want him to be knocking down shots, and look, three-point percentage from the season, 29.1. So you'd like that to get better, but that's interesting. That's right around his average. But I swear by the eye test, if you just watch him, it's looking better. You know, so can he get this to be more consistent? Obviously, he's not going to shoot 54% for the season from 3, but I think Horton-Tucker can be a 36%. Oh, wow. 36% three-point shooter at some point. And if he can do that, then he becomes a really interesting player, because tonight, 41 points, 5 assists. He just absolutely got to the rim at will. And he has that speed. He has that burst that's surprising, because he doesn't look like a super fast guy. But man, he has a quick first step, and he's so long. Like we said, just an abnormally long wingspan with like the 6'4" body, but the 7'1", 7'2" wingspan, just nuts. So he's just got the great size at the position, and we know what we've heard from Jazz sources and everything, that the Jazz want size at every position, and so that's what Talen Horton brings. Ochai Agbaji, he's still figuring it out. So 2 for 7 from the field tonight, 2 for 6 from 3, 10 points, but he looked solid to me. 3 assists, and he's doing some things that make me happy. He's driving to the rim. He's trying to create for himself, which he would have never gotten if the Jazz were still contending for a playoff spot and had players like Jordan Clarkson playing and Colin Sexton. Instead, they have Ochai Agbaji, who is learning to create his own shot, getting legit minutes, real, actual development. So really nice to see. And so the numbers aren't super impressive tonight, but he's had other nights where he's literally carried the Jazz. So exciting to see Ochai Agbaji getting better and better and learning. Down nights like tonight are fine in terms of shooting, but I actually felt like he was pretty good. Walker Kessler played just 20 minutes tonight, and he was really solid. 4 assists for Kessler, 10 rebounds, 9 points. Some of these points actually came with interest. Like he had that one nice step through move and things like that. So he's kind of getting a chance to do some things too. I'd love to see Kessler getting the ball in the post more and just getting some post moves up. So DWCB Team 47 is greater than Talen 41. Yeah, I don't know. Juan Toscano-Anderson, 3 for 5 from the field. He's not going to be on the Jazz next year unless they have his contract. Should we go look at his contract? Juan Toscano-Anderson. Did I spell that right? First try? Yeah. All right. Yep. He's unrestricted free agent next year. I don't know if he'll even be in the NBA, to be honest. Simone Fontecchio, the 3-point shot wasn't there tonight, so he had that month. Team 47 leads to Talen Horton. Oh, I see. I like it. The thing is he was just absolutely flaming hot, and now he's cooled off a little bit. We'll see if he can kind of turn it around. I kind of hope not, because I would like the Jazz to lose the last 6 games. They have 6 games left, I believe, and all of them I think are not favored in if they bring the lineup they brought tonight. We already mentioned Horton-Tucker, who, by the way, let's just one last mention of him. What a nice trade for the Jazz that was. Whether you are big on Talen Horton-Tucker or not, Pat Beverly isn't even on the Lakers anymore. He is on the Chicago Bulls, who was picked up off of waivers. So the Jazz get a legitimate building block in Talen Horton-Tucker. And when I say building block, I think he can be a future consistent rotation player for them on good team. Why not? I think he could be the backup guard. Why not? You know, when you can put up these types of stat lines, these are the things that show you that a guy can actually play. You know, we saw this with, Grayson Allen right now is on a championship, probably the biggest likely champion of the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks. And he had that game 3-4 years ago where he dropped 40 points. And it was at the end of the year. It didn't really matter all that much. But He dropped 40 in a game where both teams were resting a ton of players, and that tells you something. That means a guy can rise above the competition and score. And so this is a legitimate sign from Horton-Tucker, and I think this is his second 40-plus point game. I can't remember exactly, but it just shows you that he is a legit NBA rotation player, and he's only like 22. Let's see. How old is he? 22 years old. He's only 22. So the Jazz will have him next year, and then we'll see about a contract extension for him. But I don't see why he can't be the backup guard for this Jazz team for a long time, especially if the Jazz get really lucky in the lottery and get someone like Scoot, or if they're able to drop a spot or two, or if like Anthony Black drops to the Jazz, I could see him being the guard for them as well. Or, maybe they go get Taylor Hendricks and Cason Wallace. Maybe he's there at the Wolves pick. The Wolves tonight, are the Wolves losing right now? Yep, playing the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant back, so likely not going to win that game. So that's nice. If you can get like Cason Wallace and Taylor Hendricks or something like that, that would be interesting. Now, it's not the transformative superstar that we wanted, but it's a player that will absolutely be a high-level starter for a long time. So, and then the Jazz have picks to maybe go out and get a trade. So, let's see. Trading Pat Bev doomed our championship run. Interesting thing about that is that every team I think that Pat Bev has played for has made the playoffs. It's kind of a wild stat. Look it up. If I'm wrong, don't correct me. Okay, let's see. Who else? We gave THT his flowers. Let's see. Udoka's been playing pretty well. Doak has been playing pretty decent. He can at least finish those lobs, and he had 5 rebounds. And so, you know what? Good for Doak. I don't know if he's going to get an NBA contract next year. This might be the last of Doak. But if it is, it was fun. Doak, it was fun. Johnny Juzang is also showing some nice things. Look at that. 5 for 9 from the field. He's got a nice game. I like Johnny Juzang. I think Johnny Juzang has a chance, So if the Jazz have a trade or something that they do, if Johnny Juzang can just continue to develop, you want him to be a good defender, and you want him to be just a knockdown shooter, and he's kind of showing potential. I know on a night he goes 0 for 3 from 3, but, from the field, if you take away the 3 3-point shots, this means he was 5 for 6 from the field. So nice to see. The 2-point percentage was absolutely there. Now, can he continually hit the 3-point shot? In fact, out of curiosity, where's he at for the season? Where are you at, Johnny Juzang? No, that's not good enough. So he's got to get that up. If he wants to be an NBA player, you've got to knock down your threes. You just have to, especially if you're not a super high athletic guy. You've got to say, you've got to knock down your threes. And then the big story this week, Chris Dunn was really nice tonight, to be honest. He's just nice to have on the Jazz, especially with his defense, his demeanor, leadership. It's all great. And he can really teach a lot of these guys, like, this is the work ethic you've got to have, or you'll be out of the league. Chris Dunn, if you remember, was a number 5 overall pick, and he was out of the league this year before the Jazz picked him up. So that type of experience can really bring a lot to a locker room, and I'm sure he's happy to get that new contract. But anyways, Luka Samanich. He was the pickup of the day. I believe it was yesterday. Or it might have been today. I can't remember. I wrote about it, but on SLC Dunk, go to SLC Dunk. You can read about it. But anyways, Samanich played for the Spurs for just 2 years. He was a number 19 overall pick. It's funny that the Spurs booed him. So they must have been really disappointed with what he does. But anyways, he comes in tonight. The thing about him is he's got pretty good size. What's his size listed at? 6'10". So he's kind of a power forward, can spread the floor. He shot 33% from 3 in the G League. It looks like he's been a little more aggressive in the G League. He averaged like 20 and 8 or 22 and 8 or something like that. But Samanich comes in. He scores 9 points, has 9 rebounds, tosses 4 assists. Kind of nice for a guy who hasn't really learned the offense quite yet, or at least has had time to gel. But he had a block shot, a steal. He just kind of did a little bit of everything. So who knows? He's worth kind of picking up. Getting a number 19 overall guy, and the way this Jazz team has kind of turned all these guys that kind of were cast-offs from other teams. The best example of that was Lauri Markkanen. But you know what? Number 19 overall pick, nice size, can shoot the ball, can do a few things. Why not? I was sad because it meant Jarrell Brantley wasn't on the team anymore, but at least we get to see someone else, which is kind of fun to watch. So good for him. No, the other thing that we got to watch is Damien Jones is a three-point shooter. Look at this. For the season, I know we've been just kind of stat watching, but 6'11", his hops are out of this world. Absolutely incredible. I mean, just the lift he gets is unbelievable. He's just a fun player to have. But look at this. He's shooting 50% from three for the season. Pretty awesome. Let's see. Or no, is that career? Let's see. That's weird. What is that? Is this for the Jazz? I don't know. 66% in 14 games played for the Jazz. That's wild. I guess that would be for the season for 2022-2023 with the Lakers. 66% from the Jazz. That's crazy. He can absolutely knock down the three. Now, it's not super high. You know, he's not even shooting one a game, but when he does, he knocks it down. Let's see. Should we do totals? Let's see. So for the season, okay. Sample size, nice percentage there, right? He's taken 9, he's knocked down 6. For the season, he's taken 12, knocked down 6. So he can knock it down. Now, can you take more than 9? We'll see. He shot 34% though for Sacramento, and he took 29. So, you know, has he gotten a little better? Can he be 36 to 40%? And can you put in Damien Jones to do a 5-out offense? I think so. But give him more time. But anytime he gets to play, I love seeing him take those knockdown threes. That's really, really interesting. And I like Damien Jones. That way, you know what? If he's in the backup center for the Jazz, and I'm fine with that because I think he's good. I think he can spread the floor and you can have a nice offense, especially if the Jazz get like a nice bucket getter in the draft. Like, let's say the Jazz get, what's his bucket? There's the pun. Scalabrini. Sensabaugh. Bryce Sensabaugh is just an absolute bucket getter, and he will be there possibly for the Jazz with the Wolves pick. And someone like that, if they're playing off the bench, look at that, 23.9. The guy can actually absolutely fill it up. Or like a Jet Howard, you know, absolutely can light it up. Someone like that on the floor, and being on the floor with Damien Jones, who's knocking it down at such a high rate. I mean, I like it. That's fun. That is like blow the doors off offense, you know? So pretty fun to think about for the future. I like Damien Jones being on the Jazz soon. And you know what? I think let's just end here talking about this Jazz team is playing the young players they want to develop. That's been kind of the mantra for the last 20 games is they're going to just focus on playing the young guys, the guys that are going to be on the team in the future. That's why they're playing Ochai, Kessler, Talen Horton-Tucker. I think the Jazz likely are going to probably rest Lauri Markkanen a lot to finish the season because they don't want him getting hurt. You know, the Jazz are not going to make the playoffs this year, and that's fine. They were not planning on making the playoffs this year at any point. I don't care what anyone says. The goal was to get another pick in this draft so that they could build it along with the other young players they have, and they've succeeded. Now, would I have liked them to lose that game against Boston, that game against Sacramento? Absolutely, because the Jazz needed that loss. They're sitting at 10th in the draft right now. They need to get to. They should have been at like 7. But what they have done successfully this year is played those young players, and that's why I don't think Jordan Clarkson's going to be on the team next year. I think the Jazz are going to be. Sometimes once in a while, listen to the announcers because once in a while they'll slip. Like right now, it's a wink thing with Craig Bolerjack and Thurl Bailey, where they're like, the Jazz are playing to win, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they're close. Oh, they won this game. So much fun. Oh, playoff race. Oh, playoff picture. 6 games left, 2 games behind. Oh, maybe. No, that's not what they're winking. But the other night, Bowler made a comment that I was like, oh, he slipped. Oh. What did he say? He just said, oh, now I'm losing my train of thought. Well, there's 2 things that I noticed. One, great. Now it's left my mind. Well, the one thing that I remember hearing is that Bill Simmons and all these guys that are close to the Boston Celtics who know Danny Ainge were talking about, I can't remember if it was Bill Simmons or if it was Ryan Russillo or Chris Mannix, who's basically the David Locke of Boston. But anyways, just talked about how Danny doesn't like to just put things up for chance in the offseason. He doesn't like to. He likes to trade players into cap space. And that's what Bowler Jack said. So Bowler Jack just let it slip. He just said it's going to be a wild offseason. Oh, really? Really, Bowler? What's going to happen? Because my opinion is that the Jazz might look at doing some sort of sign and trade with Jordan Clarkson to maybe give another team a chance to get him that might not have been able to. And the Jazz, like we've talked about, when you look at the cap space next year, they have like $50 million if they don't re-sign Jordan Clarkson. So the Jazz will go into the next offseason. If they do not re-sign Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton will be the highest paid player of the team, and it's like 16-17 million. He's like making $500,000 more than Lauri Markkanen. They're both making, give or take, something like 16 million, 17 million, something like that. But anyways, yes, exactly, DWCB. Buckle up, Bowler, buckle up offseason for sure. And he just said that, and I was like, that's an interesting thing for him to say, because why would Bowler even mention that? Other than that he was probably talking to Danny or something, and it was on the brain. But anyways, I just think this offseason is going to be really interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Jazz go completely young next year. Lauri Markkanen will be the lead guy. It will be Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, Walker Kessler. You'll see Talen Horton-Tucker likely off the bench or starting, depending on what happens in the draft. But then you've got 3 draft picks, and I bet the Jazz want to make all 3 and try to hit with all 3. Because the thing about draft picks, and the higher you are in the lottery, it's just a fact. Go look at the stats. It's on SLC Dunk. I can share the numbers with you. But if you want to win a championship, 99 times out of 100, except for Giannis, you need a top 10 pick. That is your chance of getting an MVP. And what do you need to win a title? You need an MVP. You just do. And so the Jazz may be able to get that in trade. I don't know if Lauri Markkanen is that MVP player, but I think Lauri Markkanen is definitely looking like a top 15 player with this Jazz team as he's entering his prime right now. But I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the Jazz going into next season with 3 first-round picks that are likely going to play. They are going to make some sort of offseason move or trade because they have $50 million in cap space. What was that sound? But the thing we know about Danny Ainge is that he doesn't do bad contracts either. So, he's not going to go out there and just sign someone just to sign someone. He is going to make good contracts. So we may see guys come into the Jazz that, on solid contracts, or they may trade for someone. I mean, honestly, I'm watching this Jaylen Brown situation like close. Why not? The Jazz have all that cap space. The Jazz have all these picks. And if they think Jaylen Brown could be that player that goes next to Lauri Markkanen, and if you've got a guy that you can bring in, I don't know. It's going to be a wild offseason. You can bet it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about it on this channel all summer long. And I'm going to do more videos this summer because things are going pretty well, and I just want to grow this channel. Speaking of growing this channel, have you liked and subscribed yet? Let's see. But also, I just wanted to say I did a new background style. I think I'm going to do these for a while. I liked it. It's outer space. I liked it. All right, let's see. Let's do what we do. Oh, wait. I still have to. This was a bad one tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go back and let's see. So the Jazz stupidly won tonight, but that's okay. They're still going to get at least the 9th spot. Chicago's trying really hard to win. Washington's actually winning. Look at that. Won their last game, and they're talking about re-signing Kristaps Porzingis. I think the Jazz are going to end up in 8th. I think they're going to end up in 8th. Oh, let's hope. But let's start the music. So here we go, baby. All right, so the Jazz are at 10. I expect them to be at 9 or possibly 8 by the end of the season. I would not be surprised. The schedule is pretty tough for the rest of the season for the Jazz. In fact, Utah has the number 4 most difficult schedule. And look, Boston, Denver, the Nets, the Lakers twice, and OKC is their easiest opponent. OKC is good. OKC is good. So If the Jazz can lose tomorrow not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, they're going to lose these games and lose to OKC. They'll lose out, and they have a really good shot. So, but hey, they've got to lose. You got to do what it takes, okay? All right, let's go back. If the lottery was today, what happens? Boom. Washington jumps from the number 8 spot. That's the spot the Jazz need to get to. Bummer! To get the number 2 spot, and Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller, and Houston jumps to number 1. The absolute worst situation for Wembanyama you could pick is Houston, and that's where he's apparently going. Boo! All right, let's see. What does that give us in this mock draft? Come on. All right, here we go. So, interesting that they jumped Anthony Black to 6. That's crazy. I mean, he is getting some high praise from a lot of people. A lot of people love Jarris Walker. Might be the most versatile big man defender in the draft outside of Victor Wembanyama. He looks really awesome. And a lot of people love Anthony Black's defense. Honestly, it's a good defensive draft because people are also huge. The Thompson twins have the athleticism, but man, they are going to bring the defense if they have the mentality. Brandon Miller, too, and Scoot Henderson. None of these guys are bad defenders. The biggest question mark as a defender starts with Cam Whitmore at 8. But he has the physical tools to be a good defender. He is an absolute beast physically. So we'll see. Look at this. So the Spurs get Brandon Miller at number 3. That's a nice building block to start with. They're still going to be crappy next year. But anyways, the Jazz get Nick Smith Jr. at number 10. He's a player I like. And I know the Jazz want a guard. And then look at that. Taylor Hendricks at 11. Cason Wallace at 13. Do you take Nick Smith or do you take Cason Wallace, the possible Drew Holiday clone? I don't know. It's going to be a fun draft. You can count on that. All right, let's go to the... Let's give a shout out to our All-Stars tonight. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I don't have it up like a dummy. While I pull this up, guys, if you're new, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And you could join the channel, become a rookie, starter, or all-star. I would really appreciate it. It really supports the channel. All right, let's give a shout out to Baby Elliot Matson, Ezekiel Raicibe, the man for Down Under. See ya! Lexalator, Bill Ford Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo, Jordan the Goat Besserell, Just Buckets, JB, Zap Watts, TGD, Total Game Domination, Christian House, Money to Haas, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, X marks the spot for Zintas, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, DW to CB, Darren Williams, to Carlos Boozer, Patrick Kakubo, the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Guys, there's a lot of good... I love Cason Wallace. You can make a case for Cason. You can make a Cason. He's really good defensively. And honestly, I think his numbers are going to get better. By the way, it's never happened before where someone who went to Kentucky didn't look great at Kentucky all of a sudden went to the NBA and looked a lot better, right? Just ask Devin Booker. And look, what number did Devin Booker go? 13. Where is Cason Wallace going? 13. Pretty good chance he becomes good. But look at that steal rate for Cason Wallace, 2.2. The only ones that are higher are the Thompson twins. Look at that steal rate. That's crazy. Steal rate, by the way, very high indicator of success in the NBA. All right, guys, like and subscribe. Go to Prize Picks. Use promo code HoopsNerd. I will talk to you next time.